Because the wild boar are going up everywhere around the world, we need new solutions. And hunting is clearly not the only one, and not one that might be sustainable. So fertility control might provide an extra tool or an alternative to reducing the number of wild boar and their impact. And fertility control ideally should be done by giving animals or offering animals oral contraceptives like in baits that they can eat to become infertile or sterile. We don't have oral contraceptives yet, but several groups around the world, including my research group, are looking for developing oral contraceptives for wild boar and for wild boar only. Because the problem with fertility control is that you need something that is not expensive. You need something that it's not affecting the physiology and the behavior of the animals apart from the reproduction. You need something that does not go through the food chain, so that if somebody eats a wild boar that is sterile, that somebody does not become infertile. You need other species not to feed on the contraceptive. So there are a number of issues that we need to resolve through research to make sure that we develop the right contraceptive for the right species. But the good news is that we have developed in the past methods to deliver contraceptives to wild boar and to wild boar only. This is called the BOS, the Boar Operated System, and it's like a cowboy hat that slides on a pole and sits on a round base. So the cowboy hat sits on this base. On the base we have some bait, and the wild boar is the only animals that we know, apart from the bear, that can use its natural behavior to lift the hat and feed from it. And no other animals. We tested this in Italy, in the UK, in the US, and in the Caribbean. And the wild boar were the only species, apart from in the States the bear, were able to use this system. So this system could be used to deliver oral baits to wild boar, with the oral bait containing a contraceptive. There are definitely other methods. One of the most important one would be education. In fact, I would say it would be education, 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 because one of the main problems of human-wildlife conflicts is not only that the wild boar are increasing, but the wild boar are increasing for a number of factors. Some are independent of people, like climate change, milder winters, so they don't die in winter, more food produced, crops produced throughout the year, and so on. But there are other instances where we could do something with people. People feed wild boar. And one of the reasons why there are wild boar in urban areas, in cities, is that people like to see the piglets. The piglets are cute, and the wild boar are very intelligent also, and very adaptable. So if they're fed, they will continue to go there. There are many videos now on YouTube of wild boar following people and trying to snatch a bag full of food, because they've been used to do it. So in this case, the problem lies with the people, and you only need a handful of people to have this behavior to make the difference. So maybe education, even from an information from a very young age, from the children upwards, to tell them, if you see an animal, it's beautiful, don't take selfies, don't feed it, because an animal fed often is an animal dead. So fertility control is used currently on a number of species, and essentially is on all the wildlife that becomes overabundant. And overabundant is an interesting concept because it's very difficult to quantify. I would say that overabundance means when the problem caused by that species to society exceed the pleasure that society takes into seeing the animals around. So there are species and context for which fertility control makes sense. On the website of the Botstiber, the website is called wildlifefertilitycontrol.org. There is a lot of material on not only the scientific papers, but also there are interviews, webinars, podcasts, seminars on a number of instances where animals are managed by fertility control. So we need research to answer all these queries, and we need we need funding for research to develop safe and effective fertility control drugs. The reason I would encourage everybody, not only government, absolutely everybody, to seek alternatives is that we do not have an alternative. If we continue with traditional methods like killing, we are going to be in the same situation where we are now, which is a very difficult one. Because if you have too many animals, the economy might suffer, the environment might suffer. So you definitely need as many tools as you can. And I'm not saying fertility control is the only tool, but it's certainly a very, very important one. Also because people, society, are definitely in favor of fertility control, sometimes because they don't realize what it means. A lot of people, when we talk about we are working on contraceptives for squirrels, they think, oh, you're putting squirrels on the pill. Or we're working on contraceptives for wild boar, and they would joke and say, oh, you're using condoms on the wild boar. I would say, no, actually, and then we explain what the research does and what the contraceptive could do, and why bringing a contraceptive to market as a veterinary drug generally costs millions of euros and takes several years, because the authorities, the regulatory authorities, will need a long set of data on toxicity, on efficacy, on the purity of ingredients and so on, before allowing a new drug on the market.